All right, so we have two straps. One strap is going to go around to the abdomen at about the level of the navel. All right, so last week we started to explore kind of this theme of restriction and resistance and breathing into resistance. So one strap is going to go at the level of the navel and not too binding. I can still fit my thumbs underneath. And then the second strap will go under the breastband, okay? Just under the breasts. And once again, not too tight. So we're starting off with two straps, Alice. One is at the level of the navel. So you should, when you're just breathing normally, you should be able to feel them. And they're not dropping down, but not super tight, okay? And then we have a bolster and a blanket, just as usual. So once you have your straps on, then lie down. Start off with your legs bent. Scoot the buttocks under. Support yourself with your hands. Tuck the blanket under your neck and head. Lengthen the buttocks toward the feet, and then stretch your legs out one at a time. You might need to adjust the straps once you're down. So once everything sort of deflates, you might need to tighten a tiny bit. All right, and then rest here. In Pranayama Shavasana, just rest, normal breath. So last week, we began an exploration of breathing into resistance. Well, we continued an exploration of breathing into resistance, meaning what happens when you restrict one part of the body, what happens with the breath, where does the breath go? Glasses off, so that you're not tempted to use your visual sense of perception, but so the visual sense of perception can be muted. So anyway, last week we talked about, we explored what it meant to breathe into restriction lying on our side, impeding the side ribs from moving that were on the floor, but then enhancing the movement of the side ribs on the part that was facing the ceiling. And then we did the same exploration lying on our stomach so that the back body would receive the breath, and then lying on the back so that the front body would receive the breath, primarily. Of course, the entire lung apparatus is always pumping in and out, air in and out. But we could feel, hopefully you could feel the different areas that the breath was touching, that the breath was concentrated in certain areas, depending on your position. So now we're creating this kind of artificial resistance through the straps. And first, just relaxed breathing, You might not even feel the straps very much when you're just breathing in a very quiet and relaxed manner. But now, as we start to transition into Ujjayi stage 1 breath observation, and as you deliberately start to slow down the breath, slow and soften the breath, then now you might feel more resistance as you inhale through the straps. And then a slight receding away from the straps as you exhale. So it's kind of a dance with the straps. It's not like we're fighting the straps. It's not like you're trying to like aggressively burst the straps. But we are definitely breathing into the resistance. And it's kind of like when you're being squeezed slightly in these two spots, then where else does the breath go? So we're breathing into resistance and we're also kind of channeling the breath. And right now we've got 2 straps, but really you could have 1, you could have 3, you could have 4. There's no right or wrong way to explore this theme. But now as you feel the breath slowing down and softening, then you'll feel the skin pushing into the strap. You'll feel the resistance of the strap. And embrace the resistance of the strap. Breathe into the resistance of the strap. Not in a confrontational way, not in a resentful way, but in an accepting way. Breathe into that resistance. Because breathing into this resistance actually really strengthens our breathing apparatus. It strengthens the diaphragm. It strengthens the muscles, the auxiliary respiratory muscles of the chest region. So discern for yourself how much you're going to breathe into the resistance. You'll notice that if you're too harsh, then it becomes kind of like a battle with the strap. But if you're too yielding, then you don't really get the benefit of the resistance. So this theme of resistance is actually like a really important theme in physiology and movement science. And we know that you can't develop strength without some level of resistance. And in asana work, we're always bringing some level of resistance because that is what stabilizes an asana. If there's no resistance in an asana, then you'll just fall over. You won't be able to hold a shape. So this concept of resistance is pretty essential when we're talking about movement. But also when we're talking about life, you know, resistance, like today is Inauguration Day, and our government has put up some resistance through fencing, through the National Guard, through security measures. And we know from 1/6 how essential that is. So there's a level of resistance that is always necessary. Even when we're not talking about something like Inauguration Day, you know, like resistance is like a door. It's a healthy boundary between you and the cold weather. It's a form of protection. Sometimes, but we can overdo it. You know, nobody wants to live in a police state. We don't want to live in a militarized zone. So we can overdo resistance for sure. So you have to discern for yourself what is the right amount of how much are you going to push into the strap, and how much are you going to how much resistance are you creating with the breath, with the straps. Like I said, kind of embrace the resistance, embrace the strap, embrace the restriction that the strap is giving, because it's actually strengthening you, and it's helping to channel and direct the breath. So not to fight it, but also not to yield to it. So continuing the Ujjayi work, developing into Ujjayi Bahya Abhyantara stage 4. Inhale and exhale Ujjayi at your own pace. Just do 2 more cycles and then return to normal breathing. All right. When your breath has come back to the normal resting breath, then fold your hands in, bend your legs, roll to your side. And sit up. So now we will do some seated pranayama. So have a couple of blankets available. So now we're going to rearrange the straps a little bit. So this one that's below your breast, now let's put it above the breast, okay? So now it's going to go under the armpits. Under the armpits, upper chest, on the upper chest. So now the buckle is at like the center of my sternum. Okay? above the breasts. The second strap will go on the lower ribs. So it's at about it's just below the level of the xiphoid. The xiphoid process is, so the sternum ends, you know, you can feel the bony sternum and then it ends. And then there's like a little bit of bone at the bottom. And that's the xiphoid process. And the strap is gonna go right there, okay? So like when you have your hands in Namaskarasana, that's the same spot where the root of the thumb lands in Namaskarasana, okay? And then one strap at the top of the chest. And of course, you can experiment with different placements of the strap. This is just what I've chosen for today. But like I said, there's no like one right way to do it. You can experiment with all different placements. So now it's January 20th, Biden-Harris day. And so cross the right leg, then the left leg. So just to kind of like, to make sure that I'm alternating, I tend to cross the right leg first on even numbered days and the left leg first on odd numbered days. It's just a little game I play. And it's not like I'm attached to it, but it's one way to sort of structure a practice so that we are able to stick with it, you know? These little tricks often help. Okay, so sitting up tall. Let's work with Viloma here with these straps, okay? Because these straps are convenient for sort of marking off Viloma. So the first stage will be below the strap in the abdominal region. The second stage will be in this in-between area. So it'll be like the middle ribs to the armpit. And then the third stage of the breath will be up here in the top chest. So see if you can really feel those three demarcations through the resistance of the strap. And you can slightly tighten, you can slightly loosen. But remember, we're kind of breathing into that resistance, not in a way that's like preventing us from respiration, but in a way that we can actually feel it. And we have to maybe work 10% harder, maybe 10, 15% harder in order to breathe into that spot. All right, so from here, spread the chest open, roll the shoulders back, balance the head at the top of the spine, bring the head down. I only have my glasses on so I can watch you, but you can have your glasses off. And then place the hands on the blanket, palms up, elbows down. Jalandhar Bandha. My head is up so I can watch you. Keep spreading across the top. Just take a few normal breaths, a few preparatory breaths here. So we're gonna do Bahya Abhyantara Viloma, both inhales and exhales, but we'll start off light. So we're not gonna go for a big breath right off the bat. Exhale completely. Breathe into the abdominal region. Pause. Breathe into the middle rib, middle chest region. Pause. Inhale all the way up to the top chest, collarbones. Pause. And then deflate from the bottom to the top. From the bottommost and then the middle section, pause. And then empty out the top section. Pause. Take a resting breath. Or two. Exhale completely. Inhale, bottom section. Pause. Inhale, middle section. Pause. Inhale, top section. Pause. Exhale, bottom section. Pause. Exhale, middle section. Pause. Exhale, top section. Pause. Take a resting breath or two. So we're following the movement of the diaphragm. Okay, so we're as you exhale, it's a feeling of like pushing the air out from bottom to the top. All right, so that the top section empties out last. All right, let's repeat that. Exhale completely. Inhale the bottom section. Feel the resistance. Pause. Inhale the middle section. This is probably where you feel the most resistance. Pause. Inhale into the very top chest. Feel the resistance of that top strap. Pause. Exhale, bottom section. The abdomen deflates. Exhale, middle section. The abdomen continues to deflate. Exhale, top section. And take a resting breath or two. And then do 4 more cycles on your own. All right, 4 more cycles. Start when you're ready. And really see if you can delineate each of those sections and feel the resistance of the strap. Breathe into that resistance. It will actually make your breathing stronger. You might be able to get a little bit fuller breath. Don't go for volume. In all of the pranayama patterns, breath patterns, it's not that we're going for volume. We're going for subtlety. We're going for articulation of the breath. We're going toward sensitivity of the breath, but it's not a matter of just like pumping more air in and out. That's not the goal of pranayama. Remember that prana is more subtle, more fine than oxygen and carbon dioxide. So we're moving the prana through the trunk, through the organs. And going for that articulation of each section and using the straps to help delineate the stages, the articulation, and using this sense of resistance to become more conscious, to become more sensitive. So finish your cycles. When you're ready, when you've completed all the Viloma cycles, and bring your head up with your eyes closed. Change the cross of the legs when you're done. And then before your final Shavasana today, let's do 3 cycles of Ujjayi. Okay, so Bahya Abhyantara Ujjayi from a seated position. Remember last week, we noticed that when the trunk is not impeded by the floor, when you're not lying in a position on the floor, then there's more movement through the trunk in terms of the respiration, in terms of the prana. So become sensitized to the circumferential expansion of the breath. So breathing into all the entire circle of the belt of the straps that you have on right now. Okay, so 3 cycles of Ujjayi. Inhale, exhale, bow your head down. Exhale completely. Inhale, slow, soft inhale, breathing into the strap, all the way to the top. And then as you exhale, the diaphragm pushes up. You start to feel the skin receding away from the straps a little bit, still maintaining that fullness as you exhale until the very end. Resting breath or 2 if you need, and then 2 more Ujjayi. Slow, soft, smooth Ujjayi breaths. So it's like we take that Viloma and iron it out. We still have the resistance that the straps are providing. And the straps are providing feedback and guidance as to where the breath is touching. And the invitation I'm offering is for you to really breathe into the entire circumference of the strap. Evenly. Can you feel the entire circumference of the strap evenly in your Ujjayi breaths? And then normal breathing when you're done. Normal breathing, eyes closed, chin up. And then when you're done, you can turn your palms down on the blanket and just sit quietly for a moment. And as you're sitting quietly, breathing normally, then you barely feel the straps. The breath is so soft. You know that they're there, but it's not a strong sensation. All right. Now loosen the straps. And then you can lie down. You can loosen the straps or just remove them completely and lie down now. Flat on your back if you're comfortable doing so. Otherwise, you can use support. So now a few minutes of Shavasana. You know, really, if you have the time, like a 7-minute Shavasana, you know, at the end of pranayama is really nice. To kind of bring your nervous system back to a quiet, calm, neutral state, because pranayama is stimulating. It's meant to be stimulating. And so to give your body and your physiological state a chance to sort of quiet and calm down. If it's morning pranayama like today, then the energy that the pranayama gives you can carry you, you know, through the whole day. If you're doing it in the evening, then of course you would want it to be cooling, soothing, relaxing. You could even do pranayama right at bedtime, but I would say concentrate on the more quieting pranayamas that focus more on the exhales, and not to do any of the really energizing pranayamas like digital and like strong inhaling work, because those are going to be more awakening. But ideally, if you have the time, you know, take a little bit more than 5 minutes at the end of pranayama You can stay for 5, 10 minutes, even 15 minutes if you want to. So I will be officially ending the meeting, but you can stay. You can stay as you wish. And thank you for coming in. I'll see you next time.